Now, the longest running talk show in the Central Panhandle. Ask the Master Auto Technician with James Morris on Fox News Radio 94.5 WFLA.
All right, this is James Morris. I'm back on the air. This is our last 10-minute segment or so before we have to, well, that's it for the next week. But I've got Ulyss along with Mark Sarlo. We just lost Ulyss. He had a question. Oh, Anna Marie, we hit the wrong button or whatever. Maybe he'll call back. He has a 2011 5.3 engine. It was a question about oil. And Mark, in today's paper, I wrote about the importance of not using the right, not so much the right weight, but the right kind of oil.
Mark's dropped off.
Oh, Mark dropped off. Is Ulyss there? I got him?
Ulyss is gone too.
Oh, no, everyone's gone. No one loves me no more. Oh, well, they'll call back, hopefully. I know Mark will, because he knows that this is a very common problem. But sometimes it happens. But the question is on the right kind of oil. Yes, you may put in 5W30 or 5W20, but just because you put in the right weight doesn't mean you put in the right kind. I talked about how Nissan has to use ester-based oil. Now, ester-based oil is what we put in air conditioning and refrigeration units. That's what we've been doing for years, but it's a specially blended oil to keep the engines clean, to keep the noise down, to make things, they have to have that oil or you'll ruin the engine. Now, Mark, you're back, I see.
I'm back on. I was just very happily on hold, and then modern technology took me away.
Yeah, and I apologize. But we had a gentleman call about a 2011 Silverado with a 5.3 because I'm writing about the importance of using Dexos-approved oil in these vehicles, or oil that meets or has that endorsement on it. If they don't, if the engine has failure, they will not cover it under warranty.
That's right, and it is the burden of the owner of the vehicle to prove with documentation that regular scheduled oil changes were done and the correct oil was used.
Okay, I got Ulyss back on. Ulyss, what is your question for Mark and I about your 2011 5.3?
I was reading your little ad in this, well, not an ad, your letter in this paper. It says something about special oil for a General Motors
Yes, sir.
type engine.
Yes, sir. Sure is. That's why I put that in there. I put a Nissan in there as an example, and I put a General Motors, which everybody down here in the South just about has. I even have a GM truck. If you do not put in the Dexos-approved oil and you have problems, you will be denied warranty from the manufacturer. They use oil pressure to change the timing. Not a distributor. Oil pressure. It's got little passageways that are about the size of a shrimp's digestive tract. That's about how small they are. And if they clog up with trash, they don't work. And if they don't work, they tear the engine up. And if they tear the engine up, you're in trouble. So the only oil that I know that's aftermarket that's Dexos approved, if I'm not mistaken, Mark, is Mobil 1. That's the only one.
Yeah, and there are about 5 or 6 of them now.
Are there 5 or 6? Well, anyway.
Oh, yeah. And if anybody were so interested, they can go actually to a website that is hosted by General Motors, and you would just type in Dexos-approved oils, and there must be, gosh, I can't even tell you how many are there. Now, here's what I mean by that. There are 4 major additive companies, and each one has their own blend of Dexos approved. But let's suppose that James and Anna wanted to market an oil called James and Anna's oil, which would be fine. Well, you can buy this pre-blended oil, put your name on it, and it can be Dexos approved, but it does have to have that. So there are out there lots of oils that meet it, just because people have bought pre-blended, pre-approved packaging.
But it has to have that on there, sir.
It has to have the Dexos 1 approved. It cannot say meets the standards. It must say approved by.
And it's usually a green emblem. It's a little green emblem. If you don't see that on there, if you go to an oil change place and they're going to put in XYZ synthetic motor oil blend or whatever, if that doesn't say Dexos approved, don't put it in your car. If something goes wrong, you'll end up buying that repair work yourself instead of being under warranty because it's 2011. It's brand new.
Yeah. In other words, be sure it's the Dexos
approved.
2 approved.
Right.
Dexos 2 approved.
Dexos 1 approved.
Excuse me. I fat fingered it. It's supposed to be, I punched in Dexos 2 and it's supposed to be Dexos 1.
Dexos 1.
Dexos 1, but it's got to be Dexos approved. If it's not, If it's not, you're going to be very, very sorry, because what'll happen is you'll get noises in your engine at first. It can happen. Not saying it will. You can get noises. You're going to get catastrophic engine damage. And some of these cars, when you get a dreaded, what is that, PO 418, 318?
I thought it was 481, but either way, it's the one that has to do with the cam actuator.
Yeah, if you get that one right there, that's like the kiss of death. It may cost you $1,000 to attempt to fix it, and then it still may not fix it. That's the problem about it. And if you don't use the right oil and there is engine damage, the manufacturer will take an engine oil sample. They will send it off. And if they find any evidence you've been using oil in there that's not Dexos approved, guess what? It's all on you.
And this is a synthetic oil?
Yes, sir. It's a synthetic oil.
Uh-huh.
It's a synthetic blend oil. Now, that's General Motors synthetic. It's if I'm not mistaken, I don't have it here in front of me. It's over there. It's a General Motors GM 6940S approved. That's a technical term. It has to be but Dexos approved. It must be, if you buy any oil and it does not say Dexos approved, you're on your own there.
Okay.
I know that sounds hard to believe.
And it says it's pretty expensive.
Yes, sir. Even Mobil 1 runs anywhere from $8 to $12 a quart. You know, and that's Dexos approved. And even the oil you buy from the dealership is $8 to $10 a quart.
Uh-huh.
It ain't cheap. So if you're getting oil changes for $30, $40, they ain't putting the right oil in it.
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay.
Well, the last time I had it changed was at the place where, well, I don't drive much. I'm close to 86 years old.
Uh-huh. Well, and that's good, but still, you need to call these people and ask them, hey, the oil you put in there, was it bulk oil, or was it, or was it Dexos approved? And if it wasn't the right oil, I would recommend you getting it changed and putting in the right oil.
Well, the man that put it in at the shop where I carried it back to the Chevrolet place.
Oh, if they did Chevrolet, they did it right then.
Uh-huh. He said something about a special oil. He mentioned it. I didn't understand it, but he did mention something.
Right. Well, that's the special oil he's talking about.
Uh-huh.
Failure to put the special oil in is like, well, it's not a good thing.
Uh-huh.
And that's why, but you did right. If you took it back to General Motors, it's not a problem. But if you take it to a 10-minute oil change place, there may be a problem.
Well, that's where I took it. It's the only time I've changed the oil. Don't have about 4,000 miles, a little better on it now.
Right.
And I've had the thing since last of 10, so I'm not driving.
You're not driving it, but it's very, very important that when you do get the oil changed, they put Dexos approved oil. If you can't find, oil in your area that says Dexos approved, if you're worried about it, you can go to Walmart and buy Mobil 1. It's Dexos approved. I know that.
Mobil 1 is?
Mobil 1 is Dexos approved. It says right on the bottle, Dexos approved. You can't go wrong. Does that make sense? I think we just lost him.
No, I'm listening. I'm writing that down.
Oh, okay, yeah. Mobil 1 is Dexos approved.
Mobil 1.
Yes, sir.
It does have the Dexos.
Yes, sir. It sure does.
I was writing it down. You hadn't lost it.
Sometimes I get that dead air. I go, uh-oh.
Yeah, I understand.
That's all right. Anyway, I hope that helps you out, sir.
Yeah, I live over here on Deer Point Lake.
Well, you live up there next to Paradise, don't you?
Well, I've been born and raised here.
Well, you're a rare bird, because not very many people are from Panama City. I know I'm not.
You're not?
No, I came here when I was 18.
Yeah.
I never left.
Well, I live right where I was born.
That's unusual, Euless. That really is.
Right here on the west side of the lake, on the Southport side.
On the Southport side. That's God's country up there in Southport.
There you go.
That really is. Thank you so much for calling, Euless.
Okay,
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You're very, very welcome.
James.
All right, sir. Now, Mark, you see, that's the importance. A lot of people buy a car or truck, they don't pay a lot of attention. They think they're doing their car right just by changing the oil. And sometimes they look for the cheapest prices, and they end up doing more damage to their cars.
Well, and it is just as you said. Let's be clear on that. Is that there are many fantastic oils out there that are not Dexos approved. So they might not, and that's the key word, they might not cause any damage to your newer GM. Where it comes into a problem is if something happens to your General Motors vehicle and it's a late model. Now, again, if you have a 2008, 2009, or older, it's a whole different set of rules.
You're out of warranty.
And it doesn't apply anyway. But now you have your 2010, 2011, 2012, which require Dexos-approved oil. And you put it in a very fine oil. and I can name many, but let's just say you put in a wonderfully great oil and something happens to your engine. General Motors has the option and probably will deny warranty.
They will. There ain't no probably about it. They will deny. I've already had a couple customers.
So the point is yes, the Dexos oil is a little more expensive. Now, from an engineering point of view, here's what General Motors did. Long story short, they looked at all the requirements it took for the latest oils out there and said, gee, we like those, but because we do have engines that run with cam phasers and cam actuators and such like that, and we changed the timing, we need an oil that also does this, 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 and this. And the general consensus was, gee, that's a whole lot of extra expensive testing just to make you happy. And General Motors said, oh, you know what, you're right, let's not make us happy. So General Motors went out on their own and said, okay, here's the way it works. You must meet or exceed the same requirements the other guys ask, which, would be Chrysler and all the North American, Toyota, etc. However, in addition, we want this, 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 and this. And they require additional tests and things to be passed to protect their engines. That's where the Dexos 1 came from, and that's why they want it, because they realized the tests that were out there did pretty good, but didn't come up to the speed that they wanted, so they just went out and said, you have to get approved for Dexos. You'll have to run these extra tests. And these extra tests might be $300,000.
Yes.
But if you want to be approved, this is what you need to do.
Now, we had a 2005 Chevrolet come in, and every car that comes in my shop, we've gotten so scared about oils in the last few months now, every car that comes in, we go to AllData, and we print out the recommended oils and fluids for a vehicle. And 2005 came in the other day, and right there, oil type 5W30, 5W30, and then it's put down there, Dexos approved only, is what it
was on a 2005?
2005.
Wow, yeah, something happened in AllData. Yeah.
I'm sitting there looking at it going, I ain't taking a chance. I told the customer, you want me to change your oil? He said, yeah. I said, I ain't putting regular oil in it. He said, why not? I said, you see this piece of paper right here? It says Dexos approved. I ain't putting anything in it but that. And he said, well, that's all right. Mobil 1's what I use anyway. I said, fine. But the point is, because I just can't take a chance, because if it's not written, it's not true. But if it is written, I can be held liable in a court and end up putting, like an engine in some of these Nissans are $10,000. And if you put, according to some engineering buddies, if I put POA oil, polyalpha olefin oil, like Mobil 1, where it's supposed to be ester-based oil, I could damage the engine. I don't know if I would or not, but they said there's a possibility. What would happen, in your opinion, as an engineer, if you did put in, we got about a minute left, is there anything that could happen with Mobil 1 oil?
Well, from a chemical point of view, as I said, there's a difference between the two oils as far as how they affect gaskets and seals and etc. And in a very expensive lawsuit, you could probably end up proving that the PAO is a satisfactory oil compared to an ester base, but it would cost you more to prove it than it would to put an engine in.
I'd just rather put the right oil in it. Hey, thank you so much for calling, Mark. Thank you, Anna Marie. Thank you, Dan the Man. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching on television. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye now.
James Auto Center, we fix it right.